What's up, everybody? As you can see, I'm in your favorite spot, my laundry room / computer room. Went home for lunch today, but before I left my job to come home, I saw some interesting news that was reported, I think, on CNN. And I said, man, I thought I heard something kind of like this or whatever in the Webbot, the last Webbot report. So I had to pull up the old Webbot report and find this. I'm going to read you the CNN report from today. 4 people, including 2 children, were killed after a reservoir broke and flooded 3 villages in western Hungary with toxic red mud. 116 casualties, including 8 people who were seriously injured. Or they have treated at least 116 casualties, including 8 people who were seriously injured. Most have been airlifted by helicopter. The reservoir burst the Monday afternoon, they said. At least a cubic meters of red mud has spilled so far. The toxic sludge, a waste product from aluminum production, could potentially endanger 2 major rivers, the Danube and the Raba, the government said. It has already reached the river Marsal. So this is from a plant, a manufacturing plant, obviously, that does aluminum production. Now, let me read you a tiny piece, a very, very tiny piece of the Webbot report. Further accretion patterns within the Terra entity and both Global Pop and Populist US of A show that flooded lands, which is to say, the land with standing water upon it, will itself cause problems for local humans and animals and plants. The idea is that such places as military depots and commercial chemical sites / dumps will end up as wet, toxic sumps and death areas after the initial and active flooding occurs. There are many instances with the flooding / flood / flooded land new subset which provide a view of stagnant waters, as well as new lakes and new rivers, all of which have a very long-term value sums in their duration of impact. Array elements. This is a Webbot hit. I mean, for God's sakes. This happened at an aluminum manufacturing plant. The byproduct of this crap is supposed to be contained somewhere, which this thing bursts or whatever, and now crap gets into the water, kills people, and they're calling it, the red mud. And they even said it's toxic. So here's that Webbot part again. The idea is that such places as military depots and commercial chemical sites / dumps will end up as wet, toxic sumps and death areas after the initial and active flooding occurs. So if I'm to understand that right, this area that's just been flooded with that toxic crap, if this report is dead on with this particular event, that means this area is not going to be habitable pretty much after this little incident has just happened. At the same time, I'm noticing, especially this year, little pre-echoes. Like when they talk about this in the Webbot report, believe me, they're not talking about this one little incident. It's kind of minuscule. They're talking about some major stuff happening. And I've noticed this year, there's just a little tiny minuscule pieces of a lot of the report coming out and kind of poking its head out. Almost enough to say, well, hey, I think that's a Webbot hit. It might even be, but it's not doomy enough, not powerful enough to really be the hit. So it's almost like a pre-echo of what's coming. So anyways, had I not remembered that in my little tiny brain, I would have never even thought to look back in the Webbot report when I saw that news clip today. So, and then as I started reading it, as I was browsing through some of the pages to find it, I'm seeing other things like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I better try to remember myself to pay attention to that one. It's just so much. But anyways, that's all I want to share with you. Webbot hit. Another one. Fantastic.